Alright, so Demons of Chaos. Couple notes here before we go into the recording I did for the video. Keep in mind this is a legacy PDF. Keep in mind they're probably not going to update it anytime in the near future. So, like, don't get any hopes up for them to fix anything or FAQ it or any of that. Because they've already said they won't, like I said in this video here. Side note, too, I do some streaming on the Twitches. I'm getting back up to it. I'll be starting today, Wednesday, so Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 8:30, 10:30, and then Friday I start at 9:30, and I go to 11:30, and I pretty much just hang out with my community, chill, paint whatever I feel like painting, and then talk a little bit about shop, and then also, like, on Friday we watch a little bit of, like, haunted stuff. I don't know, it's fun for me. It's like a time for me to decompress and chill, so if you want to catch me, join me there. I have a Facebook page I'm linking in the description because I'm starting to work on the Toad Dragon for Tamarcon and bringing the rules over in terms of points or everything. So if you want to play test some of those rules for me and kind of let me know what you think about them, that would be outstanding, and I would appreciate that very much. Everyone, enjoy the video, and you know, if you play Demons of Slaanesh, it's a little rough for you, but anyways, boom! What's up, everybody? It's the Tabletop Tyrant. Today we're doing Demons of Chaos. So, interesting little PDF in my opinion. A lot of jumping around if you want to like run a polytheistic god. You're going to have to go between like a bunch of different pages because they break it up based off Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch. That's what they did in the Codex back in 8th edition too. I always thought it was kind of tacky though. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to be breaking them down in their respective categories. So we're going to be covering core, special, rare characters, and they're all going to be compiled within the way I found them in the book. You know what? Let's just get into it now. Let's dive in. Let's do this. PowerPoint proficient, obviously, as you guys have learned to expect on this channel. Slaanesh! Boom! So, Cleaving Blow, as we talked about, if you roll 6 to wound, you don't get an armor save, but you get a regen and an invul save, which is okay. Now, Demonic. It comes with a slew of keywords. You get a 5-up ward save. The keywords are magical attack, sphere, immune to psychology, unbreakable warp spawn, and demonic instability. Demonic instability is taking a leadership check in combat when you lose, and the difference of that, so if you need a 6, you roll a 9, 3 demons just vanish as they go back to the warp. If you roll double 6s, the entire unit's completely gone, sucked away, finished, goodbye, no mas. But if you're used to, back in 8th edition, you could roll double 1s, and the entire unit would come back to its initial starting strength. But it looks like they've done away with that this go around. Demonic Locust is something that you will go on a Herald, right? You upgrade him to a BSB, he gets this keyword, and what it does is it reduces the demonic instability by 1 while within 12 inches of this guy. Also, D6, double 6s to roll, no longer vanishes the unit, they just lose the difference of models. And then some big things, like you'll see it a lot in the Thirster, the big greater demon, some other stuff, will have Infernal Favor, sorry. And what you'll do is you'll reduce the number of wounds or losses that you'll take from demonic instability by the number next to it. So I think the Thirster's like Infernal Favor 2, so you won't lose 2 wounds if you lose by 2 in combat. Or if you lose by 3, you only lose 1. The lore of demons here. So we all know how magic kind of has an understanding of it. If not, I'll explain it real quick. But first thing I want to say, for anyone that's new to demons, Khorne isn't represented on here because Khorne doesn't have anything to do with magic. He's all about combat. He thinks it's dishonorable. Most of us know that, but for the new people that are just getting into it, that's why. Now, looking at the lore of demons is interesting. So, as many of you know, there's going to be a list of lores you can take next to whatever wizard you're taking. Now, you roll randomly, you roll the dice, so if you're wizard level 4, you roll 4 dice. I think any doubles, you can pick the spell, and then on top of it, you can choose to exchange one of the spells you rolled for one of these spells if they match the mark. So if you're Nurgle, you can take Plague Wind, and so on and so forth. It's a good way to do it, and with Tzeentch having so many things that can kind of be wizards, I would almost say, like, you could plan a list based off of getting Pinkfire or Gifted Mutation, you know, picking a unit that takes it rather than a caster. Anyways, let's continue. So Plague Wind is Nurgle. You cast on a 7-up. It's a Vortex range 12 with a 3-inch template. It becomes dangerous terrain and move D6 in a random direction every turn phase, and the unit minus Nurgle demons it touches is -1 of their toughness for the remainder of the turn. Honestly, I think it's a bit overplayed. If you play multiple editions or, you know, the other games, like dangerous terrain, it would have been cool to see it be something like the old like Miasma of Pestilence spell or something come back. But hey, you know, I can't complain. Pink Fire is Tzeentch. Its casting's an 8 up. It's a magic missile and has an 18-inch range. The target unit suffers D3 plus 3 strength 3 hits with AP nothing with flaming attacks. As we covered, flaming attacks kind of get dished out to everything these days. It's not like a crazy thing. You had the Gift of Mutation. Now this has a double cast, so you can cast it on an 8 or you can cast it on a 12. Now if you're casting it on an 8, and an enemy unit suffers a D3 modifier to the one of the following, you pick weapon skill, strength, or toughness. And they can only drop to a minimum of 1. Now, if you go on the 12, you can pick 2 that it suffers by. You have to declare what 2 before throwing the dice, I think. It doesn't say that, but I'm pretty sure you have to. Also, this lasts until your next turn phase. You have Cacophonic Hymn. It's obviously Slaanesh. It's a Hex 10, it needs a 10 plus to cast. It's a 12-inch range, and it remains in play if the spell is cast. The effects of any enchantment spell previously cast on the target unit immediately expire. In addition, whilst this spell is in play, the target unit becomes subject to the Stupidity special rule. Is it bad? No. Is it great? No. Would I take it? Probably not. I don't think so. Moving forward. So we have the Armoury of Daemons. So these are going to be weapons that they take in their equipment. Obviously the Hellblade you're going to see on Bloodletters. The Plague Swordsman and the Plague Bears. Death's Head's an upgrade for like the Herald that he can take as like a grenade. Piercing Claws or Slaanesh. Flames of Tzeentch can be taken by the Pink Horrors and stuff. And Lamprey's Bite will be the Screamers. Now that we've got that all taken care of, when you want to know something about a weapon or you want to check it out, come back to the Armoury of the Daemons tab. It'll be tabbed down below. The Hellblade is strength as user, -1 AP and cleaving blow. You get the Plague Sword, which is combat strength as user, AP, and Armor Bane 1. And I believe it's poisoned. No, they have poison on their profile. Death's Head's range 12, strength +1, AP -1, move and shoot, which is pretty decent, and multi-wounds D3. Piercing Claws is combat strength as user, AP -1, Armor Bane 2, extra attacks 1, and requires 2 hands. Flames of Tzeentch, range 18, strength 3, AP, nothing, flaming attacks, multi-shot, 2 quick shot. Lamprey's Bite is strength as user, -1 AP, D3 wounds, and it's a monster or troop type only. So, yeah, whatever. Let's move on. Let's get into like the politicking here of the demons. There's gonna be a little caveat that I want to dump into. A model cannot have more than 1 demonic alignment. So you can't take a Khorne Greater Demon and then also give him the keyword Slaanesh, right? Like this is for anyone that's new, that's not aware of that. A character with a demonic alignment can only join a unit with the same demonic alignment. So if you're Khorne, you can't join Slaanesh and vice versa. Tzeentch can't join Nurgle and Nurgle can't join Khorne. And a character with no demonic alignment can join any unit as normal. So there's that. Now, Khorne has Hatred Slaanesh. When you make a successful charge on top of that, you get +1 to your strength. However, it doesn't confer to the mounts. And their Juggernauts are pretty tough. So it would have really been a boost, if you want, to them. I think personally, the mark at Khorne's like, eh. Like, all these marks are kind of like, meh. It's not really, like, gonna be game-breaking. It is different to how the mortals have it. So the mortals would have like frenzy, they would have to take a charge, they have to do all this stuff, and then they get an extra attack for frenzy, and then they had like options that really help them dish out the damage output. Not so much with the Khorne Bloodletters. They're kind of at a loss when it comes to that stuff. Nurgle has Hatred Tzeentch. Enemy units hitting must reroll to hit rolls of 1, which I believe the mortals might have been to wound rolls of 1, but I have to double check. I don't run a lot of Nurgle in the Warriors of Chaos. Hatred Slaanesh, increase your charge by 1 inch and add +1 to your charge or pursue roll you make. I mean, I guess they kind of kept it within the theme of like being quick, and their army is really quick if you run it the way I'm probably going to talk about here in a bit. And then you have Tzeentch, which has Hatred Nurgle, +1 to casting roll, and this doesn't negate the roll of double ones. So you still can miscast, you can still mess that up. So you can't like go and do, oh, but I negate, no, you're still going to get punished for it. And then we got the Chaotic Gifts. So this is just stuff that they can take. Obviously, they cannot take magic items from the book. It doesn't say they are allowed to because they're demons. You know, honestly, I didn't like a lot of these. I don't know. Call me a party pooper. I'm a party pooper. What can I say? The Aether Blade's 55 points. No armor saves allowed, but you can take Ward and Invul. And it's like, you're paying 55 points to not give someone an armor save when the Hellblade does that on a 6 with Devastating Wound. But then on top of it too, like, this is a gift that you put on a character. And the chances are they might go against another character. They probably will go against another character. And now, those guys are going to have invul saves, especially if you're doing like Demon v Demon. And they're going to have the regen save some stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's just a little bit odd to see it be 55 points for just no armor saves. Many arms. It depends on how much you value +1 attack, because that is also expensive at 55 points. The Winged Horror. Now, I could see this being something for like a Herald that doesn't have wings or anything, which, by the way, it's only a Herald that can take it. You get the Fly 8 keyword and Swift Stride, so it allows you to kind of bounce off the table, and you might not think that's a big deal, which, I mean, I'm kind of seeing like it not, I don't know. Heralds have 2 wounds. So do you want them to be flying around with 8 inches? I don't know. I would rather put them on a chariot or a palanquin or something. And then you get Demonic Robes. 35 points. Cannot be wounded by a wound of 2, regardless of the strength of the attack. I have never, in probably like the 15, 20 games I've gotten as of this month, been wounded on a 2. So 35 points for something that may not happen. Chaotic Icons, the Banner of Unholy Victory. 60 points, claim D3 bonus to combat res. I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's a really good thing to have. I think worst case you gain 1, best case you gain 3. And it's like the War Banner. It's going to help you out. And 60 points, so it's not too bad, considering you can't take the War Banner. The Totem of Eternal War. 45 points, Demonic Locust only, so the BSB. Reduces wounds lost by demonic instability by D3. So Demonic Locust already helps reduce that by 1, so D3 is just adding to that number. So that's a good thing. So it could be 2, but it could also be 4. The Standard of Chaotic Glory. Sweet names, by the way. Demonic Locust only, and then +1 to leadership while within command range to a max of 10. So we got Gifts of Khorne, Spellier. You can dispel spells if you're a level 2 wizard. Really good in my opinion. Something that, like, if you're immortal, you're going to dream about having. Armor Khorne, it's heavy armor, 5 up ward save, and it's 40 points, which is kind of like meh. So, like, you already get the ward save as a demon anyways, and then the Demon Prince is a 4 up ward save, and then on top of it, like, I guess you could put this on a champion in a unit, but I don't know. I don't see the point of it. Axe of Khorne, 35 points, +1 strength, AP -1, killing blow, magical attacks, and requires 2 hands. And then Mighty Khorne, which is just +1 strength for 25 points. Collar of Khorne, improve your magic res by 1, so your magic res 1 becomes 2. Okay. So going from there, Icons, the Skull Totem. With this totem, gain the Furious Charge, the Rider only. It's the Great Standard of Sundering, 45 points. If a wizard can draw a line of sight to the banner, it's -1 to casting. Really good one to have, considering like everything in Tzeentch can be upgraded to a wizard. But even like outside of Tzeentch, if you put this on a Herald, and you take this and you're on a chariot, and you're just kind of like on the Blood Throne, just kind of like staying in the middle, there's going to be a lot of things that can draw a line of sight to it. And then being -1 to casting is kind of funny. The Great Standard of... Icons of Endless War. 30 points when charging may reroll its charge roll. So, when you say re-rolling charge roll, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm going to pick the one I don't like, or, you know, I got a good number here. You have to re-roll both dice. You know, you can't play it safe and say, well, I got a 4, but maybe I needed a 5. You know, like, re-roll them both. Moving on, Nurgling Infestation, 45 points. It's a great unclean one, only. So, the way it works is while it's engaged in combat, make an additional D6 attacks. These attacks are resolved at Initiative 1, AP 0, and furthermore, when its model lost its last wound, place a Nurgling swarm of D3 minis around the 3 inches away from the carcass of it, and those swarms are then set up there. They're also not worth victory points when they're killed. Sloppity Bile Piper, which has a pretty sweet model, is a demonic herald. 35 points, infantry troops only. Demons of Nurgle whose movement begins within command range of this model are +1 to move. It doesn't state for how long that lasts. I don't know if that's the entire game, for the turn, for the round, till next week. It doesn't say. You have the Soil Pox Scrivener, 35 points, infantry, herald only, so he can't be rolling around on a freaking palanquin. Friendly Demons of Nurgle reroll a hit roll of a natural 1. Now this is good because it can pair up, I believe, with an icon. And we'll get back to it. Stream of Contagion. This actually used to be a spell back in the Magic Fantasy Battles 8th edition day. It's a teardrop, 10-point strength 3, AP -2, magical attacks, and a breath weapon at 25 points. Worth taking, personally. And you could put it on something pretty beefy in a unit, because it's only a 25-point upgrade. And then Trappings of Nurgle gain a 4-up armor save, and it cannot be improved. It's kind of worth it. A 4-up's good, because then you can make that 4-up, and then you can make the invul save, and then you have like a better chance of keeping Homeboy around. Now, icons. The Icon of Eternal Virulence, 50 points, gain +1 to a max by 3 per each wound caused by poison, and add this to combat res. Really great idea, except that poison happens on a 6-up, so it's like a 1 in 6 chance already, and then on top of it, you better be putting on some hardcore attacks if that's what you end up doing. The Standard of Seeping Decay, 35 points, reroll to wound of 1, and you pair this with the Spoilpox Recoil. The Spoilpox reroll, and you get to reroll them hit rolls of 1. So you're rerolling hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1. Pretty decent. Especially since like everything kind of takes place in the first rank, so you really want to destroy your opponent's first rank, or if they have spearmen, try to do as much damage as you can so you're not getting, hit back. You know what I mean? And then you have the Rotten Icon, 10 points. Enemy units cannot claim any bonuses to combat res for being engaged at the rear of a unit with this banner. Nah, you shouldn't be giving your rear up in the first place. Boom. The gifts. You have Infernal Enraptress for Slaanesh. And the wizard gains +1 to casting, and enemy wizards are -1 to casting. It can only take place on a demonic herald, and it has to be an infantry troop type only. A lot of caveats, which I dislike, because I think like having a wizard on a chariot is good stuff, in my opinion. I like it. I like getting my dudes around the table, casting spells, getting within range, and then hitting somebody in the flank with a chariot while I hit someone in their front arc with a unit. Really great support for any type of wizard like that. You take the Allure of Slaanesh, 35 points. Enemy units must make a leadership check before making any hit rolls. If you fail, they're only hitting you on 6s. If they pass, they act as normal. Cool. Siren's Song, 30 points. Single use at the start of your opponent's declared charge phase. Nominate a single unit. Pop this off. They have to take a leadership check. If they pass, everything's good. If they fail, they must declare a charge against you. So, I mean, it's a 1 use only for 30 points, and there's a 50-50 chance it doesn't happen. The Soporific Musk. Enemies engaged with this model cannot use their strikes first special rule. If they do not have the strikes first special rule, they are reduced to strikes last, which is really weird because there's a freaking upgrade on one of their models that says strikes first become strike last. So pick a lane, Soporific Musk. Enrapturing Gaze, 20 points. Enemy models in combat cannot use their general's inspiring presence when engaged with this model. I think that's good. It allows you to cut off any kind of like leadership buffs they may get, kind of mess with them, take them for what it's worth. I think it's a good thing to have, and it's only 20 points, so you can put that on a champion in a unit. Now the icons, you have 55 points for a Banner of Acquiescent. A single enemy unit engaged with the bearer of this banner suffers -D3 to weapon skill and initiative to a minimum of 1. Yeah, it's going to ensure that you're hitting them better. It's going to really help the Slaanesh demons because they need it. Like, their weapon skill is not like crazy good. They're probably be hitting most people on like 4s or 3s, or on 4s instead of 3s, but that would help them get those 3s. The Rapture Standard is 35 points. If an enemy unit charges the front arc of this unit, it has to be counted as a disorder charge, so they won't get rank bonuses, which is nice. And then the Siren Standard, 25 points. If an enemy unit wishes to flee or fire and flee, you have to take a leadership check. If you fail, you hold. Now, this would mess with people's fast cav. 25 points. I think it's funny, and I think it's worth it if you want to mess with anybody that you know is going to be like trying to harass you with their fast cavalry. Go for it. I think it would be pretty memeable if you went after some Goblin Wolf Riders because they got impetuous on top of it. So just really mess with them. Moving on. The Gifts of Change. Alright. So Tzeentch over here is a pretty interesting character. We'll go into him more towards the end of the video when I'm going over the Greater Demons. You get the Staff of Change. 65 points. Strength is user. AP -1. Flaming and magical attacks. If a model suffers 1 wound from this, immediately make a toughness test. If the test is failed, lose all remaining wounds. What? What is that? Note it does not say unmodified, so, you know, you can modify the toughness too and really bring it down, because it didn't say that it couldn't be. You have the Will of Tzeentch, 55 points. Once per round, reroll a single d6 on its own, so if you roll a cast in double sixes or ones, you could reroll one instead of all. So it's really nice, allowing you to pick and choose what you want to roll. The Power Vortex, 35 points, while within Wizard's Dispel range, -1 to their casting roll. Iridescent Corona, when shooting at this model, suffer a -1 to hit modifier. So people shooting at you, they have range, they have maybe, you know, they're shooting through a tree, that's already -2, and now this makes it -3. Yeah, it's going to suck. Twin Heads, you get to know one more spell, but it doesn't increase your wizard level to anyone trying to look for a loophole. The Banner of Discord, 60 points, magic risk -3. To a unit with this banner, and additional friendly units within 6 inches are magic res -1. That's kind of cool. It's okay. The Banner of Change, 45 points to start of your combat phase. When engaged, pick a single enemy unit to suffer 3d6 strength 2 hits with 0 AP. You know, that stuff's like kind of worthless in my opinion. Like, yeah, you could do something, but yeah, you could also spend 45 points elsewhere. And then the Icon of Sorcery. 35 points. Pink Horrors only when casting a bound spell. The power level is equal to twice its rank bonus. It doesn't say to a max or minimum. So the Pink Horrors have a deal where their power level is their rank bonus. With this, it becomes twice its rank bonus. So you could take 10 of them and you'd be a power level 2. You know, worth it, I guess? I don't know. Pink Horrors are pretty useless for that spell that they have anyways. I would almost say like Brimstone, but we'll touch on them in core. Now we got the mounts. Now the mounts are really interesting here because it's like, first of all, a caveat. If you're a Khorne dude like me and you got Juggernauts of Khorne, now you can take this profile and kind of just put it with a warrior and put it on top, and now you know how much points to adjust it for friendly games, not for events, right? But if you want to have fun, you can do that. Same thing with like the Slaanesh Seeker Steed things. Ugh. You go and you can do that and put your Marauders on it, and then you can use your Seeker dudes. Again, this is all for fun. I'm not talking about competitive here. But moving forward, it's 50 points for this Khorne Juggernaut, and it's a 50 by 75 millimeter base, as he was in the past. He has a sweet attack called Brassbound Hooves, which is strength is user, but AP 2. It's pretty freaking disgusting, because honestly, the Juggernaut's nothing to joke around with. It has first charge, which means the first time you charge, your enemy will not be able to count its ranks bonus. It has barding, so it's going to add to the armor save of the Callous Tide on the Blood Letter. And it also has Swift Stride, so you get to add that die to your charge roll, as well as 2 impact hits from this bad boy. So you're looking at some pretty good stuff. It's going to be great. Heavy hitter, heavy on points too, though. The Blood Throne of Khorne. Check the box for that, please, because I think that one's sweet. Heavy Chariot with a couple of special rules. You get Gore Feast for each wound that an enemy loses. On a roll of a 6, D6, on a 6, it regains a wound. Whatever. But the Totem of Endless Bloodletting is going to be the Totem of Endless Winning. Friendly demons of Khorne within command range and made a charge move can reroll to hit rolls of 1 in combat. It doesn't sound like a lot, but Bloodletters only have 1 attack. So being able to reroll that 1 is going to really kind of help you out in the 4 there. So both those are really interesting. Regaining wounds is always a good thing. Again, it only happens on a 6, but the probability of the same thing, it's like being able to reroll that 1. It's one of those things where, like, don't rely on it, but if it happens, it's a good thing to have happen. Now, the reason why I say take the Blood Throne is I think there's a big thing you can make for any type of unit that's really supporting your infantry. And I think chariots and things of that nature are really good because they're able to go in there, hit a flank, do these impact hits, wreck someone, and then get the heck out of dodge afterwards. You know, if they break them or they fall back, you know, or even if they fall back in good order, hit the front, hit this with this flank on the side with your herald on it, and just wreak havoc. You know what I mean? So personally, that's what I would do. You get a Palanquin of Nurgle. So he's an interesting thing. It moves 4 inches, but you add 4 wounds to the dude on top. So, I mean, is it great? No. You become like a monstrous, I think, cav or beast. You get D6 plus 1 attacks that are poisoned, and then you get all this for the affordable price of 40 points. I don't know. It looks cool. You'll have to use like Epidemus here. His name used to be Epidemus, but now it's not. Now it's just Palanquin and dude on top. If you want to do it, do it. If not, like, you don't have a lot of options as Nurgle, you know. Then moving on to Slaanesh. Ugh. The Steed of Slaanesh. These things always kind of give me the EBGBs when I see them. They're 16 points, light cav, and the Steed itself is really solid. And merged with the Demonette is good. I wouldn't say like either one alone are inherently game breaking. But they have some good special rules like countercharge. I personally am a fan of countercharge. You're allowed to be a little more reckless, set yourself up for a longer charge. If you fail it, that person might charge you, and guess what? You get to give them the finger and countercharge and be just like you charged that round with him. It has poisoned attacks and armor bane 1, so 6s are going to be -1 AP, a 9-inch move, and strength 3. Honestly, for 16 points, if you're playing a small game, I would say throw a Herald on that and enjoy yourself, have fun with it. It's a nice cheap upgrade for your Herald. Let's talk chariots here. We got the Seeker Chariot and the Exalted Seeker Chariot. Both one's 100 points, one's 185. One has 2 demons, the other has 3. One has 2 steeds, the other is 4. Where it differs is the unit size on the Seeker Chariot can be 1 to 3 with D3 plus 1 impact hits, and they have a 5-up armor save, where the Exalted Seeker Chariot is rolling around in a unit size of 1. It's got 6 wounds with D6 plus 1 impact hits, 4 attacks, and it's in a 4-up armor save. What can I say? Take the regular Seeker Chariot in a smaller game, but grab the Exalted Seeker Chariot for freaking big games, man. 185 points. Now, the bummer is that GW, I did not see it on its web store. I don't know if they got rid of it or what the heck happened, but it is freaking mean. One way to work around this so you're not buying like a bunch of chariots to go back and forth on, you can put a magnet in the foot of one of these models, like this one right here, for example, and you can go through and put a magnet under the chariot and just kind of like interchange it. You know, you can even put on a base if you want to, put it in a basing stone, magnetize it, you're in there. Now, the thing that makes this thing so great isn't just the fact that you can put a wizard on there and cast spells and move around like a chariot like I like, but you get 4 of the freaking Seeker Steeds, which have armor bane and poison. Then you get 3 demonettes. 3 demonettes to sit there and do armor bane on their little pincers, which is pretty intense and sweet at the same time. So if you roll well enough, you're going to be in there really messing someone up. And like I said, I never personally would take on a flank with a chariot. I mean, you can, it can be done, but I really love using them for flanks. And think about that as an option. Get in there, cast. When you're done casting and ready to support, crash it into a flank and move on. You know what I mean? The Disc is Tzeentch. So it's 20 points, strength 4, 3 wounds, light cav, fly 10, swift stride. Great for a wizard. Again, you can fly over units because it's got fly, which you'll see with the chariots here in a second. But it's really, really awesome thing to have. Cheap too. Like I said, 20 points. Use it in smaller games, maybe not bigger games. And then we got the Chariot of Tzeentch. 90 points, 2 screamers, strength, toughness, wounds 4. It's a heavy chariot, has a 4-up save, D6 plus 1 impact hits. More importantly, fly freaking 9. This chariot isn't just hitting dudes, it's flying freaking over them, which is awesome. Because those little screamer dudes are going to have some Lamprey's Bite, which we talked about in the weapons section, so it's going to be really good. And it also has close order, so it helps a bit in combat res. The Burning Chariot of Tzeentch, 190 points. This thing is like a Frankenstein of profiles. Strength, toughness, wounds 4, like previously. However, you get an Exalted Flamer, making it a level 1 wizard. Furthermore, 3 blue whores, 2 screamers, and all the accompanying special rules with that. It's got a 4-up armor save, and personally, I don't like this. Maybe you could put a banner on it, maybe you could do something with it. And honestly, too, this thing is a rare choice, which we'll talk about here after. And you can't go wrong with it as a rare. It's a really good thing to have as a rare filler. Because it's rare, you don't need to have the main goddess, the greeter demon, on the table. So you don't need to take a Lord of Change to bring this. You could actually take freaking a Bloodthirster, put him on the table, and support him with shooting and magic attacks, which is something they both need. You know what I mean? Really, really good thing to put around. And I recommend, if you take a Bloodthirster, to not take the Skull Cannon. If you're running polytheistically, take the Burning Chariot of Tzeentch. Moving on here, we got the unit profiles. Boom! Big reveal. Great artwork over here. Plague Bears killing Lizardmen. You know, it is what it is. Happens. But you know what? No, it's not happening. Boom. This Force Org breakdown. So as you'll see, 20% mercs and allies for 25% do not exist. You can't take Warriors of Chaos with these guys. You can't do crap with them. They are just homies to the demons, and they're barely okay working with each other. The characters are Greater Demon 0 to 1, Demonic Heralds per unit with same god, and 0 to 1 Demon Prince per 1k. So for every unit, Demonic Heralds per unit with same god. So there you go. And then you have the freaking BSB that comes out of the Herald. Now, the core Bloodletters, Flesh Hounds, Plague Bears, Nurglings, Demonettes, Seekers, Pink Horse, Blue Horse, Brimstone Horse, Chaos Fury. Those are your core options. Special, you get to take all the core in special, but you also get access if your general is marked by a god. You get the Blood Crushers for Khorne. For Nurgle, you get the Beasts of Nurgle and Plague Drones. For Slaanesh, you get Fiends, Hellflayers, and Secret Chariots, and Tzeentch, you get Screamers and Flamers. Now, Rare, obviously, is 25%. Rare, you get everything in special, but to add to it, you can take a Soul Grinder, Burning Chariot of Tzeentch, or the Skull Cannon of Khorne. And like I said, BSB is a Demonic Herald. It's an upgrade for 25 points, and they gain the special rule Demonic Locust. Moving on. Now, Bloodletters here were a little bit underwhelming for me. Now, you gotta think, when you're going up against a unit, you want to beat the hell out of that first rank. You want to get rid of it. If you can hit it on the charge, you can stump them from attacking you. You can wipe that rank of attacks out. You won't have to take all those hits back, right? Which is a great thing because it's going to save you on your dudes. Where this unit falls short versus its counterpart for the Warriors of Chaos with Mark of Khorne is the attack output. You take a Khorne warrior, give him freaking additional hand weapons. He's base attack 1, yes, but 2 with the additional hand weapon, 3 for frenzy, and then you go 6 to 7 wide with a champion who has 4 attacks. You can see the output that you're putting out, and they also have, I believe, hand weapons, maybe in Sorcel, but I think that's just a chosen. But either way, they're putting out those strength freaking 4 hits, really punishing people. And where it's like, okay, weapon skill 5, strength 4, still toughness 3, 1 attack, 2 on the champ. You're not getting frenzy, and you're not getting the extra attack for that additional hand weapon. One thing I will say, unit sizes for the core units are going to be the god's numbers. So if you know Khorne's 8, basic unit size. And then, yeah, like, with their weapon, you get AP and Devastating Wound on a 6, but it's like, you also get Impetuous. So, not only are you, like, kind of, like, forced to charge if you fail, you're now, like, Frenzy, but without the extra attack. And honestly, I don't know, man. I don't see the buff of it. If you are going to play Khorne, I would honestly take the Flesh Hounds, because they're the better option. Yes, they're more points, but they're 2 wounds apiece. They're strength and toughness 4, movement 8, and these guys are just heavy hitters, man. They're heavy cav. To top it off, for 3 points a mile, they can take ambushers, and for 2 points, they get Vanguard. The unit size is a 5 up, and they get Armor Bane 1 and counter charge, which is freaking great. It's like, you want to charge me? Come get some, homie. These guys are really good to have, and I would say if you're going to fill out your core, 25%. Take Flesh Hounds. And then because of the special thing, there's a chance you could run an all cav freaking Khorne army, really get up in there, really mess them up. Plague Bears, 13 points base, 6 per command, and 50-point banner. Also, the Khorne Bloodletters can have a 50-point banner. So they have poisoned attach, which is good. So you're automatically hitting, I think on a 6, it automatically wounds its poison. It's a great unit for core, as they're like hard to bring down with the regen and invul save for being demons. Also, like, out of all the demons, I think these guys are the most disheveling to look upon. Like, it's just like the Plague Bearers are very nasty looking. I always think I'm big in heresy. I always think of Davin and like that part where the book talks about the moon and how all the plague zombies come around, the Plague Bearers and stuff. Ugh. Eebie-jeebies. So yeah, I would do those. Really good unit for Nurgle. If you're running God, like I said, God specific, or even if you're going monotheistic, I would even take them just because of that regen, that stickability to hang in there is good. Nurglings, 45 points, unit size 3, strength 2, toughness 3, attack speed 3 plus 1, 7 freaking wounds with a regen of 6. They're loner, so they can't be joined by units, but I would almost put these in a group of 4 and just slam them in the front of someone you want to mess with and tie down, and then freaking flank them with something else, like the bot flies that we'll talk about later on. Demonettes. Yeah, so it's come to this, right? People love Slaanesh, and, like, look, what I'm saying is just my opinion on the rules. That doesn't mean, like, oh, I can't run my... If you're going for all Slaanesh, then there's other things you can take to compensate for the Demonette. Demonettes have always been models I've just been curious to use. Like, they look really cool to paint, they look fun. And maybe one day I'll do them just because, like, Slaanesh has some really cool, like, centerpiece minis, right? However, like, back to business, we're looking at 11 points a pop with the unit size of 6 because of, you know, Slaanesh. They got the pincering claws, like we talked about in the equipment, which I believe is like armor bane and extra attack. And the command's a 6-point upgrade per command element, 50-point banner in terms. Now, special rules, they have only 3. And when I looked at this, I was like literally that face, but like on a budget. You know, it's a little poorer. Anyways, I was taken back by it, man. It was kind of messed up. It was whack. It seemed like, because like these are like the last 2, maybe like they didn't get much attention. I don't want to say that, but I don't know. I'm just assuming like they didn't get a whole lot of love. I would have thought or assumed to see maybe something that's like giving them a special or like a benefit to their initiative if they charge or something, but nah, they don't get that. So I think with the lack of special rules, minus like the like 5,000 you get in the demon keyword, like maybe like if you're going in kind of new or you want to just like play the army, it's a little bit more simpler. That's a good thing. It'll dampen that. But honestly, like with the real big killer is strength and toughness 3. And I believe like weapon skill 4. Yeah, it's just odd. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't know. I was looking at them and I was like, how did they think of that? But by far, like so far, the biggest L goes to like the Demonettes and the Blue Horrors in my opinion. And we got the Seekers. These are a bit better. They're coming in at 21 points. This unit's esteemed as Slaanesh. And like I said, if you're going to run a monotheistic god and you're going Slaanesh, the Seekers, by far, the way to go. They're going to be the best bang for your buck. They got those dudes. And honestly, the Demonettes with Strength and Toughness 3 are going to be complemented and paired really well with the little, the wiener monster it rides. So, with that, honestly, yeah, like I said, the 2 married together is a really good combination. It's light, you can maneuver. If you roll well, you'll be crushing armor and putting through attacks and really messing people up. It's poisoned on the wiener monster. And then if you look at it and take these 2, you can fill out core. So, like I said, you don't need to mess around with Demonettes really a whole lot. The big thing I will add is because that this is movement 9, you're going to be keeping up with most of the Slaanesh range. I mean, look at those chariots. These dudes are going to be holding the line really well with them. Fiends, too, even though they're movement 8, are going to be able to kind of hold their own in terms of if you want to just get the hell down the tabletop. These dudes and everything else in the Slaanesh range is going to do it, especially because of that special rule you get. So, and I think, honestly, like, these guys are going to be pretty heavy hitters, allowing them, like, to be micromanaged a lot. Pink Horrors, 12 points a pop with some unimpressive stats. And I mean that when I say it with affection and endearment, alright? My first introduction to these guys was the Silver Tower box set, because I never messed with demons a whole lot. I was a Warrior Chaos kind of guy. I like Village the Curseling. And I got down on them with the new Blue Horrors and Brimstone at the time. And then I kind of like really liked them. But unfortunately, because I liked them, that doesn't make them good. So they have the command upgrade like everyone else. 50-point banner. You know, the unit size is 9 because of Tzeentch. And they have an interesting thing, like we said, like scintillating sorcery. So like they get to pick a spell at random. And you can even probably trade it for the pink fire or whatever the heck you want. That one is Tzeentch. And then its power levels, its rank. And if you give it that banner, double its rank. Now, they have hand weapons and a freaking fire spell that they can use. The Tzeentch Fire, which we talked about in the Armoury. It's pretty good. It gives them a little bit of firepower, but they didn't need firepower in a mono, like, run army. They need, like, hitting power. Tzeentch, like, lacks that survivability in combat, if you will, or like the ability to punish somebody. And with this addition, like shooting and magic's a good thing, but it's really to thin the ranks. So it's almost like you want to move, but you want to stay permanently out of that charge range. And because they're an 18-inch range and they can move and shoot, I would almost say like kind of bait them, pull them back, shoot, 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 and then wait for them when they have like barely any rank bonuses left and just try to hold your own against it. And that might be like the best way to do it. Bait, shoot, move, shoot. Just kind of keep sucking them in. Use your magic, because you're going to dominate the tabletop with firepower and magic with the Tzeentch. Or if you go Tzeentch only. Like, that's not even a joke. And then on top of it, like the giant chicken monster, he is going to be intense. His staff is just no nonsense, which we'll talk about in the characters. But Tzeentch has a chance where if you run it, you have to like be god tier and just like be understanding you're going to have to be moving around a lot and just not like being on autopilot. And I think you could pull out a really synergetic list. And I think it could take a lot. But I think it's going to be a lot of micromanaging and a lot of time consuming trying to dial in how you want to maneuver your demons. But that's what makes it the fun, right? Like, it's hard because when I do these videos, sometimes I take a break so I can get caught up on painting stuff. But when I do these videos, I see it and I'm like, ooh, I can make a nice art. And that's like where I have to like take a step back and say, nope, don't do these guys. Blue horrors. So these dudes are like, you know, the Chinese knockoff of the pink horrors. They don't get the flaming attack. Sorry, they don't get the spell. They get the flaming attack. They're 9 points apiece and they're 1 less weapon skill. They have open order and move through cover, so I would treat these dudes like archers or anything with like range, really, pretty much. And they got the same range attack as the pinkies, so it's like, you know, what are you going to do? You know, move through cover's nice, and open order's pretty decent for when you want to do some shooting with them. So they have their place. Again, move, shoot, stuff like that. Brimstone horrors are like the butt coverers. 38 points, and you get a unit size of 2, and they're 40 mil bases. They have flaming attacks, and they also have the loner special rule, so like the Nurglings, you're not joining them. They have 6 wounds, and they have that invul save for being demonic. And I would run a unit of 4 in a smaller game, maybe 2 units of 4, and just use them as buffers, so when people charge, like, yeah, they'll fall back in good order. Yeah, they'll freaking destabilize, but you can kind of keep using them to protect your stuff that's shooting actively into your opponent. And it's going to make your opponent, if he wants to pursue them, really think about, okay, I need to pursue them, but I'm going to end up just keep pushing them back. And then in your turn, you're going to be able to continue blasting them around and moving them and positioning yourself, or even getting your chariots in position to hit a flank. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to set up Tzeentch to be successful in this. Now, last but not least, Chaos Furies. These were, like, surprisingly nice to see. Their unit size is 5. They're 12 points a pop. They can fly 8. They get Furious Charge, Swift Strike Skirmishers, and Vanguard. You might as well take these instead of the Bloodrunners and Demonettes, am I right? And then on top of that, dude, they can take a freaking Mark for 2 points a pop, which is like, dude, that ain't no joke, you know? Their talents are strength is user IP nothing, and they are strength 4, toughness 3. The oopsie, however, is weapon skill 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if these dudes make a good little flanking thing. You know, they're useful. They have their point, and they have their thing. They can go after artillery. They can go after crew. I like them. You know, it's just me. I got a soft spot for the Furies, I guess. They finally got the much needed love they need. Special units and boo-boo. So Blood Crushers, Bloodletter mixed with Juggernaut. These Bloodletters are strength and toughness 4, which is great. 3 wound, a pop, and still with 1 attack, 2 on the champion. They have a 4 of save because Callous Hide married with Barding gives them that save. Their command 7 points apiece, and they can have 50 points standard, and we've already talked about the Juggernaut in the mount section. Moving on to Beast of Nurgle. These guys were memes when I had my Tamarkan army. I would run them for the lulz. It's 62 points, and these units solid because it says 2 up unit size. And aside from the special rules that you can read for yourselves, like the dude's got a rule called Attention Seeker. Now, what does Attention Seeker do? They're able to act like champions. They can challenge, issue, accept challenges just as any other challenger can. Which is pretty cool when it comes to just tying things down, or if you got a unit of 3 of them kind of trying to pursue maybe someone's lord on like a dragon or manicore, and just keep challenging them and locking them in and just chapping their ass. They have a 5-up regen. They're strength 4, toughness 5 with 4 wounds. So like, I don't see them even really being outright killed in the beginning of like the first challenge either. So I could see them just holding tight. With that being said, they have the demon special rules, so still have 5-up ward, and then they have slime trail, so anyone that freaking like comes up from behind them doesn't get to do their rank bonuses because of how slimy I guess it is. And then you're looking at the weapon they use. The strength is user AP 1, armor bane 1. So 6s are going to give you AP 2. So it's good. It's fun. Tie down people's independent characters, like someone like me who likes running chariots. Be that guy. And moving on to the plague drones. So these dudes are 63 points a pop, and these guys are the freaking Versace of Nurgle. More like in the sense like you want them on the tabletop so your opponent can see them, and so you can flex on your sweet ability to spend points. Where it differs from Versace is that it's actually a useful thing. This unit's extremely useful in any circumstances, which I would say, like, in a polytheistic list with like a great unclean one, I would say do it. Or as a rare option, or like in a polytheistic list with like a Bloodthirster or like a Lord of Change, run them in the rare. But they also have some really cool things like Venom Sting, which is 2 points a model. It's AP 1, Armor Bane 1, and one of its attacks must be allocated to it. And I would actually make these Black Fives like a unit of 4, just because I think that would be pretty nasty. The unit has poison, it has Armor Bane 2 when they attack. However, it applies to the Filth Encrusted Claws. If you want the fly at initiative 4 instead of 3, you can buy the Probaces, upgrade for 2 points a model. I would buy the upgrade because there's going to be a time maybe someone charges you, or maybe you charge, and there's a chance, not a big one, but there could be a chance that someone's initiative is higher than yours, and that Probaces is going to really make sure that you get to hit first when you charge. Fiends! These dudes are monstrous cav, and at 66 points a pop, and unfortunately, I don't think they're too crazy worth it. They start off a unit of 3, but again, go 4. Personally, I would do that, but as I said with the Seekers, these dudes are quick with a movement 8. Their weapon skill 4, so not bad, hitting a good chunk of things on 3s, maybe 4s. 4s, maybe, yeah, 4s. And strength and toughness 4, which is a bit of a kick in the pants compared to like some of the other stuff, but still not bad. Aside from the typical special rules they got, like Close Order, Swift Stride, they have a rule called Soporific Musk. Aside from that, they have the Piercing Claws and they have the Venomous Tail. You must also, which sucks, allocate one of its 3 attacks to this. Now remember, the Pincer Claws give them an extra attack, so it's 4 attacks basically, but still one of those has to go, reducing your chance of getting Armor Bane. Again, and it has poison and strikes first with its little poison thing. You have the Health Flares. Now this is a mean sucker right here. 145 points, but with that 145 points you spend, you're getting some freaking stopping power with this model. It's a light chariot with a 5-up save, and it's allowed to comprise of only 1 model per unit because of how freaking dirty it is. The chariot itself is strength and toughness 4 with 4 wounds, but it gets 2d6 plus 1 impact hits. You could roll really good or really crappy. That's up to you and your hands. But the sexy part is the special rules. Again, the special rules make this thing just beautiful. Counter charge, first charge, Swift Stride. Need I say more? Counter charge is going to allow you to recharge your opponent, be a little more risky with it, hit the opponent back, roll that D3, and you count as striking as also having charge, so you get that bonus to initiative to yours. First charge is going to make sure the first charge you ever do, they're going to be disordered, so they're not going to claim rank bonuses. So if you mess up and someone hits you in the front arc, and you counter charge and you hit them, they're going to be disordered. And then Swift Stride, obviously, we know how that works. So going on from that, I think it's freaking sweet. All right, let's do this. So we got Flamers coming in at 40 points, minimum unit of 3. They have the Warp Flame special rule that we covered in the Burning Chariot over in Mounts, and because you can buy a champion for 7 points, you can then upgrade him to an Exalted Flamer. He gets the same magic gimmick as the Burning Chariot, where this dude is now a caster and can be upgraded to a level 3 wizard. Aside from that, they have move through cover, so really that allows you to get up there with shooting and really implement them in that way to be supportive. And again, do like we talked with Zinch, move around, shoot, cast, all that. Screamers are 44 points, are on a 40 by 60 millimeter base, which I thought was unique. And they have a movement of 1, a fly of 9, strength and toughness 4, wounds 2, initiative 4, and 2 attacks. They have Lamprey's Bite, which we covered in the beginning, and slashing attacks. Fly over an enemy unit that is not engaged in combat and do D3 strength 4 hits. For each model in that unit that got moved over, honestly, it sounds legit. If anyone has ever used these, let me know, because they look like something I would take and just harass people with. Again, allowing you to fly over, do those attacks, maybe move around, shoot people with magic. It's just a harassing army. You just got to be prepared for that. Moving on. So, everything in special can be here, like we covered. Minus, like, the core troops, I should state that. Soul Grinders. Okay, listen. Ugh. Some of us like the Skull Grinder, some of us do not. I have always been a person who is like, ugh, cringe. It just looks weird. I didn't like it when it came out in 40k, and I don't like it in Fantasy or the Old World. I've always felt like it just had both characteristics of derp and cringe combined. Maybe the kit needs an update, I don't know, maybe it's old, but even when it was new, it was still, it was new but looked old, you know? So the big thing about this, you know, and again, you guys can love it. You guys can just eat, like, put freaking 5,000 on the table and have a whole closet full of defilers and freaking soul grinders. That's on you. Personally, I don't like it, but more power to you. The base size is 100 by 150 mil base, so no more getting away with just putting it on its feet. It's movement 8, weapon skill 3, bliss skill 3, strength and toughness and wound 6, 4 attacks and leadership 7, initiative 3. And it's 255 points before upgrading, already making it rough. Its equipment is a claw, strength user AP 3, killing blow, and a harvester cannon, which is 12-inch range, strength 4, AP -1. It's cumbersome and needs more nails. That pretty much says it's grape shot, and if you roll a misfire on it, you're going to be taking a wound and not rolling on the chart. You can upgrade to a Balefire Torrent, which is range 12, strength 5, AP -1, and it becomes a fire thrower. Again, if you roll on the misfire chart, lose 1 wound. And then finally, Warp Gaze, my personal go-to. It's a 30-point upgrade, so you're going to be paying $285 to run this thing, but it's 48 inches, strength 6, AP 3, cumbersome 2 wounds, and through. So it does 2 wounds on that attack. And through works kind of like this. So the first rank you punch through, it's going to be a strength 6. Second rank, it punches through strength 5, strength 4, strength 3, strength 2, strength 1, and then eventually 0. That's if they have all those ranks. Moving on, Burning Chariot is covered in mounts, and then we have the Skull Cannon of Khorne. If you're running an all-Khorne army, take it. If not, if you're running a Khorne Greater Demon, take the Burning Chariot. I think they're better. The Skull Cannon of Khorne, it's a chariot, right? But it's also a chariot with a big fat cannon. It's got a pretty nasty stomp attack with Braves and Wheels, which gives you AP 3 stomps. And those are going to hurt with your D3 stomps that you're adding to it. You get first charge, so your enemy will be disordered. And on top of that, you have a cannon, which has 2 payloads. Solid shot, 36-inch range, strength 8, AP -2, armor band 2, multi-wounds D3. And keep in mind that it's going to follow the cannon rules on the misfire stuff. And then aside from that, it's got the scatter shot, so like the grape shot, and it's pretty much the breath weapon, teardrop, strength 4, AP -1. So you're able to kind of continue moving and getting that kind of spread and firepower even before they hit you or anything. You know, not too bad. You can't complain about that. Now, moving on here. Lords and Heroes. So we got the Bloodthirster. The Bloodthirster, I'm not going to go crazy into its stats. It's 255 points. The base for all of these Greater Demons can be 50mm to 150mm. 100 points in Demonic Gifts for all of them. And there's, for the Bloodthirster, there's 3 different builds. Personally, I like, I'd say take the huge axe for strength 8, AP 3, armor bane 2, and then strikes last. But dude, you're a monster slayer. Go out there, kill your buddy's Greater Demons, kill your buddy's dragon. Beat the crap out of anything that's big. Just send them around to do what Khorne intended them to do, you know? That would be the way I run it. The Great Unclean One, again, another big homie. Same gimmick as before, but he's 330 points and a wizard level 1. You can increase him to level 4, and you're going to notice that with all the other ones. You can increase it by adding the wizard level to it. I think it increases by increments of 30. So 3, 6, 9, 90 points for level 4. This can really allow for some nastiness when it comes to his spells. His weapons are a bit odd, as in, like, I don't like a whole lot of them. I think the flail is great, but the gimmick with it only works in the first round. And the flail is strength +2, AP -3, and D3 wounds. And then I would take that over that boo-boo sword, the dirty sword, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Not worth it, strikes last. And a big thing to remember is this dude's super slow. So with no wings, you're going to have to overcompensate it by running things that are going to also be able to kind of stay at his pace. But not only that, you're going to have to really, really, really be careful where you deploy him, especially if you run the new model on that big base. Deployment's going to be key with this guy because he does move slow. So if you mess up, there's no overcompensating for the mistake you make when deploying him. So keep that in mind when looking at the Great Unclean One. Yeah, but again, yeah, he got poison attacks, regeneration 5 up in his demonic invul. Cool story, bro. Keeper of Secrets. You guys want this opinion? You want me to ruin childhood over here? You know, keep it kind of like Santa, you know, I don't know, because I don't want my kids to watch this, but, you know, like Santa over here, I don't want to be that guy that has to ruin that. Look, 330 points is the butcher's bill for this thing, and it's not worth 330 points. You can take demonic gifts, yeah, you can do all that. It has impaling claws. It's like strength is used your AP2, killing blow, strikes first. Killing blow what? You're going to do it support. I guess you could support a unit that's in combat, killing blow some infantry. But, I mean, when you look at the other guys that are, like, you know, meant to just take a beating, even the greater chicken of change, this dude's not looking good compared to all the other greater demons you can take. You know, I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm not going to get a greater demon to just run him as a supporting element and cast spells, especially when the chicken over there can clonk him over the head and do some damage. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this greater demon. I think out of all 4, he's the weakest, which kind of goes with what I'm saying, right, Slaanesh? But especially if you put him on the bigger base, the 100 by 150 millimeter, you're going to be really like hard pressed to make your points back with this guy, and you're going to be opening up people to your flanks, opening them up to your rear, opening up to your front, just getting the crap beat out of you. Now, here's the big thing. You know, the Lord of Change. Movement 6, Fly 9. This dude's 310 points. He has straight 6s for stats, except his leadership, which is an upside down 6. And he has 4 attacks. The Chicken of Change is no joke. His staff isn't just only a great weapon, it's a shooting attack. With 18-inch range and a strength of 4 and AP -1 to include that D3 +1 wounds. Flaming attacks and quick shot. So, yeah, he can still freaking blast you if you decide to charge him. If that gives you pause, then just think about that great weapon hitting you in the face. Great weapons +2 strength. So, strength 8, AP 2, armor bane 1. I believe maybe 2. I think it's armor bane 1. And then he has strikes last. But aside from that, he gets access to 5 lores of magic and starts off as a level 2 wizard and can't be upgraded to level 4 and take 100 points of magical items. And again, as a reminder, 310 points versus a Slaanesh monster with 330 and strikes first and a sad, very sad pinching claw. So that is where I'm coming at with Slaanesh. It's not that I dislike him. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't want to be like cynical, but I just feel like maybe the writers don't like Slaanesh that much. I don't blame them. I read the Liber Chaotica too. It's a rough one. It gave me weird dreams. Moving on to the Heralds. The Corn Dude is 80 points, packing a Hellblade and a bad attitude. He's weapon skill 7, strength 5, toughness 4, and packing 2 wounds. You can throw him on a jug, but like I said earlier, I'd give him the Blood Throne and he'll keep up with his Flesh Hounds and just be able to seek out flanks and support your army. Yeah, so like I said, the Blood Throne, what's up? Keep up with them Flesh Hounds, be able to seek out flanks and support your army in every way necessary. And then on top of it, if you want any gifts or anything, take them on them. I think that'd be pretty legit. Nurgle, weapon skill, bliss skill 5, strength and toughness 5, attacks 3, 2 wounds, 95 points. This dude is the option to take the Death Head, which is a grenade. I'd take it because it's 10 points and freaking sweet. You can upgrade him to be a level 2 wizard, and if you're running a great unclean one, I would say, and I would say this for any of the heralds, take your greater demon as a level 3 wizard and then run your herald as level 2. It gives him a little bit more stopping power with dispelling, but, you know, and it allows you to kind of save points instead of having a level 4 like greater demon and Nurgle or level 4 wizard Slaanesh. Personally, with Tzeentch, we'll get to what I would run with him. Because I wouldn't run the Tzeentch Herald, but we'll talk about that in a minute here. He has a regen of 6 up and can take a Palanquin and Nurgle, which I would absolutely love to see people run that more, even though it's still slow and he's independent and completely on his own and just can get blasted by like everything under the sun. It's just a cool looking model, you know. Moving on, Slaanesh is 85 points. Like I said, with the Nurgle Herald, I'll say it here, make him level 2, run the Slaanesh at level 3. And, you know, you can throw this dude on a mount, which I absolutely would. I would give him the Exalted Seeker Chariot. And not just because it looks dope, but because it's freaking just killer when you hit somebody with it. Get those 4 steeds, 3 demonettes. Really just put the pain on somebody. Now the Tzeentch, like his boss, this dude starts up straight up as a wizard at level 1. He doesn't mess around, he's cheap, 90 points, and I'd further it and go level 2 or 3, given that magic and range seems to be the name of the game with the Tzeentch, but that wasn't until I read the Demon Prince. Now here's the deal, the Demon Prince is the last entry in this army, and when I read this, I immediately said Tzeentch doesn't need his Herald, he can take this guy unless you're looking to like really run a BSB. This model is base 210 with an ensorcelled weapon, 4-up armor save, and can be awarded a mark. He can be allowed to fly with paying for upgrade, as well as being a level 1 wizard for 25 points. You can take 100 points of demonic gifts, and you can take heavy armor, which gives him a 5-up ward save, and the stats are G tier compared to other things. Weapon skill 7, strength 6, T5, 4 wounds, initiative 7, 5 attacks, and leadership 9. Gods like Slaanesh, Nurgle, and Tzeentch can benefit from this very much. Nurgle because this dude's quick, Slaanesh because this dude's actually good, and Tzeentch because this dude can lend hand in much combat that they can't really perform in. He's a G in melee, and if you're looking to compare it to like other gods, he can really put pressure on, like, if your buddy's playing in a different pantheon, they can really put pressure on other armies, which is something that Slaanesh really, I think, struggles with a bit, and maybe Tzeentch if you don't have the finagling down right. So those are just my impressions. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how this works here. If I wanted to make an army, I would go polytheistic, probably at the head sitting with a demon print or a greater demon of Khorne, with that great axe kind of flying around causing havoc. I would take probably the Plague Bearers as a core choice, or Fleshhounds, just because of the speed, but probably the Plague Bearers because they get that regen and they're the poison attacks and they're really going to hold something. For special, obviously, I would take the Khorne-specific Juggernauts, eat up the points there, and then max out on my rare, max out on my core. And that would be the way I would run it. And for my rare, I would end up taking that big burning cherry to Tzeentch with magic and shooting. Just get the best of all the worlds you can and really tie things down. Gods, if I ran the gods independently, it would be entirely different. Slaanesh, I would almost take a Demon Prince instead of an Exalted Demon, personally. Maybe the Herald for BSB. It's just really hard to say. Like, I want to say nice things about all of them, but the Slaanesh did get hit pretty rough in this one. And Tzeentch is almost like... Tzeentch, it's thematic with how it is. Like, you're going to have to scheme and plot and have 1,000 different plans to run it, which I can appreciate. And I'm really sure that if you were conniving enough and quick enough and you pulled your plan off right, you could absolutely destroy your opponent. Will it be fun every game? No, it's probably going to be a headache having to remember everything you're supposed to do. But I do think that if you move around, you shoot, you move back, you do all this stuff, you lure him in, you hit him with brimstones, you do all this other crap to really sucker your opponent in, I think you could pull some victories out with an all-Tzeentch army. Nurgle, again, the bot flies, the freaking Plague Bears, Nurglings, all that stuff is good. They have some good solid units, even down to the big fat guys that are going to be issuing challenges, the Beast and Nurgle. They have some decent stuff that they can take and really put the pressure on, but also tie people in. The hard thing with the Slaanesh is, like, yes, maybe the Fiends can tie people in, but 66 points a model. That's a lot of points. Like, they eat up a lot of points. They don't put out anywhere near some of the other gods do. And again, I'm happy to be wrong. And if I am wrong, please let me know down below. Maybe I'm a complete idiot and I missed something. But as of right now, where I'm at with it, I feel like Slaanesh got hit pretty tough. If I had to finagle a list, I would just take tons of chariots and tons of cav and just try to be the fastest army I could be to get down the table and put the pressure on. Get within people's shooting ranges, close the gap on artillery, just move. Because that's all you're going to be able to do. If you can move fast enough and hit them, in theory, I think you could do pretty okay. But again, I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me down below. Everyone, have a wonderful day. I'll catch you around. Peace.